If you're enjoying Picketed Podcast, why not sign up to our Patreon? You can get access to loads of extra stuff. You get access to extra episodes every single week. You get access to giveaways that we do. We've done giveaways on rum, giveaways on NFTs, loads of sponsorship stuff. You get access to the Discord community. You get early access on episodes that are being released. You get to ask questions to our guests. There's loads of extra stuff that you get, and it starts from just £1 a week, £4 a month. Think about it this way. Would you miss an episode of Picketed if we didn't release one? Yeah? Well, would you miss £1 if it went out of your bank account? No? Well then, get yourself signed up to our Patreon, because by supporting the podcast, you're helping to make it possible. You're helping to pay for all of the recording space and all of the equipment. So please, if you do enjoy the podcast, check out the Patreon. You get loads of extra benefits, and a big thank you from me. Enjoy the podcast. This week's podcast is brought to you by Window World. Window World are the home of rock bottom prices on all of your UPVC windows, doors and conservatories. Right now they're doing a very special deal where you can get 8 windows and 2 doors for only £2,495. So if you're thinking about getting new windows or doors, if you want to upgrade yourself for 2022, then get yourself down to windowworldupvc.co.uk or give them a call on 0151 531 0056. That's Window World, the home of great quality windows and doors. Welcome to Picketed Podcast. Joining us today is comedian George Zack. Hi, George.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
I didn't prepare you for the awkwardness of the intros. No. I can't do intros, so I go hello, and the comedian goes hi, and I go oh fuck. Sweet man.
So we do it again, like pretend that we're starting again, but you're right. Like,
I'm joined today by comedian George Zack. George is born in Greece but lives in London, Newcastle. And has lived in the UK. Time around. He lived in the UK for over 10 years.
Yeah, well over. Yeah.
Really? How long?
Yeah. Coming up to 20.
And you still sound like that?
Should make a joke about that. I have a lot.
Oh, mate, sweet. Over 20 years?
Nearly, yeah. No, 20. I came here September 14th, 2001.
So how old were you when you came over here?
17.
Were you?
3 days after 9/11.
Yeah, I was going to say that, yeah.
Wait, so you're 37?
Yeah, I look amazing.
You look fucking great for 37, to be fair, mate.
Yeah, but all lived on crack.
Yeah. And also as well, we have as our expert all the way from Insulate Britain, welcome Liam Norton.
Nice to be here.
Nice to be here, mate.
I'm quite impressed, like, you tested the levels for about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And it was like, bang.
Yeah,
we're
go.
On.
Not fucking about, mate. It's not Good Morning Britain, this. We fucking put it on. I famously...
Where's the makeup?
Mate, I don't do any research on the pod because I think it's more fun if we have a relaxed chat about it and just see where it goes. And I hate being that person that's like, well, I think you'll find in 2007, carbon emissions, but I don't give a fuck. I don't understand what that means. And I think it's better if you have a chat with people like the average person on the street would be, and they wouldn't just have these facts available to them.
Yeah.
I did, however, Google your name because I thought I recognise his face, and then so you were on an interview, and it is.
I'm going to use my phone now to Google his name also.
It's my favourite interview of. It was last year, wasn't it? So 2021. It's my favourite interview, and basically just sort of paraphrasing it. It was it Good Morning Britain you're on.
Yeah.
And was it Piers Morgan?
No, it was Richard Madeley.
Oh, really? Oh, he's a slippy fucker, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a fucking knobhead, is Richard Madeley as well. He goes, well, you haven't insulated your house. Why haven't you insulated your house? And he went, because I'm a hypocrite. And I fucking look. And the thing is, you got slated for it as well, because people are like, it's a hypocrite. He is a hypocrite. And it's like, yeah, he said, like, you can't slag him off for it when he admitted it. But I thought it was so rare that you get somebody that goes, yeah, I'm at fault as well. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm just as bad as the rest of us.
My biggest mistake on that, because I went on Good Morning Britain twice in 2 weeks. So I went on the week before that I walked out.
Yeah.
And
you walked out?
I walked out of the second interview. Yeah, I walked out. Yeah.
Shut up!
Yeah,
Did you?
yeah,
Why did you walk out?
Richard Madeley was being a twat.
What was he doing? Was he just?
He was just being a twat. You know, like basically on the first interview, he called me a fascist.
Right. Okay.
But like the first interview, it kind of like I dealt with it quite well. And on the second interview...
Well, what was his grounds for calling you a fascist? What was...
Well, he basically got the dictionary, you know, the definition of what a fascist means and said that was Insulate Britain through the definition. And so, but that was on the first week. And then but on this first week, like, these things are like egotistical battles. And on the first week, I kind of like won, I suppose. But the other two guests were like both on my side. And on the second week, they got another journalist.
They ganged up on you?
Yeah, they basically decided to gang up on me. And what it was, like the second interview, I'd been in, like the campaign had been going on for 10 days straight. I'd hardly had any sleep. And I just like halfway through it, like, because walking out is like a technique that we knew would create a bit of a...
Well, that's what I think you guys are about. That's what I think your modus operandi is make buzz. And I'll talk to you about that later on. So you walked out on purpose?
Well, no.
Yeah, you don't walk out accidentally. Everyone walks out.
I think you'll find the point that I'm trying to make.
No, like, basically, before I went in, I thought it's always, like, on the cards. Like, if they're, you know, like, if it happens, then I'll walk out. And basically, I'd been up for 10 days, had very little sleep. I'd been in the thick of this campaign, and it had been really intense. Like, loads of things had happened, and I'd had really little sleep. And, I thought, like, it wasn't, like, the perfect interview, and, like, loads of people criticised it and slated it, and people still do.
Was it just the hypocrite thing that people got upset about?
No, I think other people... No, I think people on the left, for instance, think that you should be very calm, considered, and give your facts. Right? But the thing that we're saying is, like, the thing about climate change is, like, it's been dominated by the kind of, like, logical, rational left for, like, 20, 30 years. And what it needs is, and in national television, it needs fucking emotion, right? It needs people to come on, ordinary people like me, just as an electrician, say, fuck you. Stop talking about ambulances because this is a load of fucking bollocks. Okay. What we're talking about is the destruction of our society. And so to get up and create some emotion and sort of create that wave, and I think I could have done it better. But at the end of the day, the thing with our media appearances,
you should have practiced your walkout. What walkout did you use?
Well,
can you give me like an exhibition now?
But when I the week before, my cousin texted me and he said, "What you should have said," because everyone calls him Alan Partridge, don't they, Richard?
Oh yeah.
So what my cousin said is what you should, and I thought this when I was in the first week. I thought he is just like Alan Partridge. So what I should say to him is, "Knowing me, Liam Norton, knowing you, Richard Madeley, aha," and then just walk out. I do quite have the ball. I know, but
it would have been a great fucking clanger, though, wouldn't it? I can't believe he called you a fascist, though. Do you know, because I think of fascism and I think of like Nazis and Hitler, and I don't remember Hitler being
and Mussolini. Come on, mate. Mussolini is the best.
There was a few fascists in Greece, right, as well.
Right, well, what are we doing now? What is this? Pointing fingers.
But I don't remember Hitler.
Well, you would know.
I don't remember Hitler ever being like, right, okay, we shall take over Europe, we shall kill the Jews, and we shall reduce carbon emissions. Do you know what I mean?
Can I? Because I haven't done any research, right?
Good. Thank God.
Yeah. Well, this is So,
but you say that like
is Insulate Britain about insulating Britain, like the houses? That's all it is.
Well, here's the thing, right? Is I think George has picked up on something really interesting. I think your average person in the street wouldn't know actually what Insulate Britain stands for.
Do you want to just because it's just to insulate houses?
No, it's about decarbonisation. So that's like insulate is like one of the main things, but then you've also got to basically get rid of gas boilers. So you've got to put in heat pumps. you've basically got to decarbonise how we heat our homes. So in our...
Sorry, you said heat pumps, and I'm just making jokes in my head.
That's the level that we're at. You asked him for a serious question about decarbonisation. You got as far as hearing the word heat pumps, and then your brain was like, penis.
What did that bring to your mind?
This is what you're up against.
What does a heat pump make you think?
It's a dick, isn't it?
Do you know what, though, is if you called... If I ever referred to my dick as a heat pump...
Yeah.
I think that... No. It sounds horrific.
Should I get the heat pump?
Hey, baby, fancy me bleeding your radiator tonight?
You're about like reducing the carbon footprint of the UK.
Yeah. So basically, if you want to,
because you did drive to Preston, right?
I did. Yeah.
As opposed to walking.
Yeah.
Or like horse and carriage or public transport.
Well, like travellers,
anyway,
like Appleby Fair.
So I'm an electrician, right?
Yeah.
So I've got tools and stuff that I need to carry around. So to make money,
right?
We all need to make money, don't we?
All about the bread.
So, but the thing is like what Insulate Britain was about was for instance, Extinction Rebellion has been like about environmentalism. Right. And what we wanted to be, what it's important to try and do is transcend environmentalism, because climate change isn't about environmentalism, right? It's about the collapse of our society. It's about people killing each other for a tin of beans.
But I don't buy into the fact.
How is climate change killing each other for a tin of beans?
Killing for a tin of beans.
Yeah.
Because what ultimately is about to happen, and it's pretty much locked in, unless we do this drastic program of change right now. What's locked in is the inability to grow food at scale.
Just push that microphone closer to you, mate.
What will happen is an inability to grow food at scale. We're already starting to see prices rise in food.
Why will we be unable to grow food?
Because as the temperatures grow, various parts of where we grow food, the breadbasket growing regions of the world, will be unable to grow food at scale. So what will probably happen to begin with is food prices will rise, and we're already starting to see that, right? And then what will happen is China and Russia, which is what happened when there was a heat wave.
It's always fucking China and Russia.
Yeah. Well, no, whenever something's about to happen, you hear them now.
It's never Tibet.
I'll tell you what, Bulgaria have got their fucking fingers in a few pies. It's never that. It's China and Russia.
All the continents,
fucking China and Russia.
Because the global food system.
Because the US are very kind as a country, never caused any problems.
Well, the global food system relies. Everybody exports food.
Right.
But it won't be Russia and China, it'll be US, and everybody will, say there's a breadbasket failure in China and Russia, what they'll do is they'll cling on to their own food. They won't export it. So the rice that we eat, they won't export it. Right?
I'm eating Chinese rice now.
No. Well, you're probably eating it from Vietnam.
Okay, so it's from that area.
Yeah, those parts of the world.
All right.
So, okay.
So when they hold on to their food, we cannot hold on to ours, right?
Okay. So everyone will hold on to their own food, George, basically, which makes sense, doesn't it? Because if you're fucking if everyone's struggling for food, then exporting it is not going to be a good look for any country. Now, how soon do you think that this might happen, Liam? Like what timescale are you working off here?
Well, no one really knows, to be honest with you. But all this kind of, I don't know how much it doesn't sound like you pay much attention in terms of when they're talking about COP and 1.5 degrees and stuff like that, because it is quite abstract. They're just abstract numbers, right? So nobody really knows. But 1.5 degrees is locked in. So any time when they say, keeping temperatures below 1.5 degrees is the target, that's bollocks, right? And there's various scientific papers that show that that's bollocks. And so what we're looking at is the next decade or two.
Yeah. Here's my thing, though, and I've always felt this about climate change, and I mentioned it right in the very first episode of this podcast, and I reiterate it again, is that I don't feel like the responsibility should be with me personally. I think the responsibility is with massive corporations and with governments. It's not with the individual. And to be quite frank, the idea that I have to put 2 weeks worth of cardboard into a tiny little plastic box that, by the way, wouldn't exist otherwise, so it's created plastic for no fucking reason. The idea that I have to put 2 weeks plastic in there, I have to sort through my bins, but fucking India won't commit to using a little bit less coal is just insane to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but the big lie there, I listened to your first episode on climate change, and it's the biggest load of bollocks when people talk about recycling. That's like the last thing we need to worry about. That's like, don't worry about that. And you're completely right in terms of like individually, it shouldn't be down to you. But what climate change is a consequence of, right, is like what we've experienced probably since the 50s is a massive, basically individualism in our society, right? So it's all about us. It's all about ourselves. You know, you look at how we live our lives and individual consumption and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like this kind of like incessant thing that, you know, like even like this growth of like Instagram and social media and this obsession with the self, right? Yeah. And what we've lost is this.
You're talking to two comedians.
The
obsession with the self.
But what we've lost is this understanding that what we live in is in a society with other people. Yeah. And so you're completely right?
No, so but I do respect society because I need followers. I need followers. Like I'm very.
How many have you got?
Not enough. Not enough.
I do all right on TikTok. That's my fucking platform. That's my bag. I'm big amongst Chinese children. Stop using coal.
It's amazing that we don't want to be using coal, but when like Thatcher closed down the mines, people kicked fucking off. But she was.
Yeah, I mean, but she wasn't.
Was Thatcher right?
She wasn't doing that for climate change.
Was Thatcher right though?
No, because she wasn't doing that for climate change.
What was she doing it for?
Just to fuck over the working class, innit?
But she did reduce the carbon footprint. Oh my God, she was a nice lady. She was a misunderstood woman.
Yeah, but if you run over, like, if you go out in your car now and you run over a child and then you find out that child, by some fucking, what's it called, Minority Report technology, you find out that child would have been a murderer, you wouldn't go, well, I was technically right to run him over. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
Why did Thatcher close down the mines?
Okay. Why? Because, it was to do with, like, workers, they became
unions and shit.
Yeah. Unions.
Is that why she closed down the mines?
They used to like.
It wasn't to like reduce the carbon consumption.
Well, here's an interesting thing about like. I think here's an interesting thing about like the mines and Thatcher and unions and stuff. So people always assume that like it was like against the workers and stuff, and it was. But people just assume naturally that every working class person was one way and every middle class person was another way or whatever. And my dad, who worked in a factory for 40 years and is, you know, as working class as they come, he hated Thatcher. He hated Thatcher. He hated unions and stuff because he said they had too much power. He said there were days in the 70s where you just didn't have any electricity 2 days a week, and there was just nothing on because the power had gotten out of control. And he said it needed somebody to be able to sort of curtail this in because
the mafia thrived on union work in America. Do you know that?
Yeah, in America.
The mafia controlled the whole country.
Yeah, that's why Jimmy Hoffa got murdered, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. I feel like I've watched, is it Black Mass?
Yeah.
Or something like this. I feel like that was...
Johnny Depp one, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, I think there's got to be a realistic medium between
Jimmy
the two.
Hoffa was in the latest Scorsese one on Netflix.
Yeah, Irishman.
Oh, I hated that, mate.
Did you?
I thought
Did you? Too long.
Went too fucking long.
Yeah, but you can break it up in 3 nice episodes.
Do you know what I hated as well? We spoke about this the other day.
Yeah.
Don't Look Up.
What do you think about
What did you think of Don't Look Up?
What did you think about
What did you hate about it? I thought...
I hated everything about it.
I watched it on Christmas Day.
I love it even more than you hated it. Now that you hate it, I love it even more. Yeah. I was ambivalent before, but now I'm the biggest fan of Don't Look Up ever.
What did you hate about it? That's interesting.
So I hated the fact that it was meant to be this clever satire, and it was so poorly acted and written and directed and edited, and particularly the script was so bad that it lost its grounds in reality, and so it became satirising something that would never happen.
Freddie didn't get it.
I hate that. You just didn't understand what it's a metaphor for. Right. So I thought it got marginally better towards the last 30 minutes, but I thought there was so much stuff in there that I just felt like smashing my head against a brick wall going, this would never happen. And a bit that I always call out is the Jennifer Lawrence bit where she comes on TV and she has a big meltdown and she screams, the comet is coming and it's going to fucking kill everyone. And then afterwards they're like, so how did we do? You know, how many people watched the show? And they were like, no, it got less people talking about this than weather reports and traffic reports. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Jackie Weaver went viral last year. Do you know what I mean? Handsworth Town Parish Council meeting went viral.
Yeah, but it's an analogy, wasn't it?
No, but it's not. It's so not real.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to be real.
No, but what it's
a movie.
It's parodying is it's not. It's just not how it would happen.
Yeah, but that's quite interesting because people that are involved with climate change.
Yeah.
And basically, if you don't understand the consequences of climate change, then that's why you don't understand that film, right? Because that's exactly that's exactly what's fucking happening. That's exactly what's happening. But it's all over, right? It's all over, right? And that's the big thing about the film. And if you don't understand the analogy in terms of what they're saying about climate change, you don't understand that film.
Do you know what I think there is? I think there's a psychological thing. I swear it's a thing, and I definitely have it, where if I'm in a car on my own, right, and the car skids, I shit my pants because I go, oh my God, I'm going to die. But if I'm on an aeroplane, unless it is hurtling towards the fucking ground, I'm like, well, there's 300 of us here, nothing's going to happen.
I'm literally the opposite.
Are you?
Like, if a car skids, I'm like, But if the plane even makes the slightest bit of movement, I'm like, I'm going to die. Everyone's going to die. And no one will give a fuck about the mediocre Greek comedians. They won't even be on the newspapers. These babies will be ahead of me. Like, honestly, it infuriates me.
But surely then you must look at climate change, George, and fucking shit your pants.
No, because, well, that's why I came to Britain, because if climate change happens, this will be the place to be, guys.
No, well, here's the thing,
you can grow all the vegetables here.
So here's what you're thinking of.
I know it's the El Nino effect will have,
global warming. So the woman who I had on the first one, she says, I hate the word global warming. It's what we should call it is global weirding. And she talks about how climate change is better because people just think, well, the planet will heat up. And so, therefore, if I'm in a rainy country, then I'll have nice weather.
It would be more extreme weather effects. I'm very aware.
I
was just making an ignorant joke for the lols, Freddie.
Oh yeah,
the lols.
For the lols.
Yeah, but this is the big thing. Like, people, it's not about weather. It's not necessarily about the weather will be a bit different.
So it's not like it'll be really windy.
Yeah, it'll be about how you grow your food.
Yeah.
So and this is the point. Like, there's been times in the UK where it's like rained for 7 weeks every day, and people's crops have just been completely ruined. Right? That's happened in the UK.
Yeah, you watch Clarkson's Farm.
We import 50% of our food. We only grow 50%.
Yeah.
So if like 50% of our food goes,
shit.
Do you know what I mean? So this is like what's on the cards.
Yeah.
So
are you?
But what you were saying, I thought that was interesting. What you said about like, so collectively you wouldn't care, and because collectively climate change is affecting all of us, you don't necessarily it doesn't connect to you. So and this is the big thing about individualism, right? Yeah. And this loss of like how we see ourselves in a community and in a society.
Sure.
So it's that loss. So it's this individualism that is driving that stuff.
Well, as well, I don't have any children or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so I kind of, do you know what? This is really selfish.
Well, I identify with that because like...
This is really selfish, but I'm going to come out and say you're going to hate me as a person for this. I kind of feel like as well...
What more?
Like, we must be of a similar age.
I'm 36.
I'm
37.
I'm 33. So similar sort of age, and you're 30, 50, whatever.
You give me 5 years there.
Yeah.
I must not look too bad.
I'm 38.
Right, so we're all of a similar age, right? Here's the thing: is our generation has put up with like how many fucking recessions and a housing crisis and COVID? Like, can we not just
Wars,
have
Afghanistan and Iraq and all that?
Can we not just have plastic? Like, can we not just be the last ones to be able to use plastic? Is that too much to ask?
Well, I kind of wish I was born in the 60s or something when you didn't have to worry about all this shit.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, that was a
music
great
was
time.
good.
Yeah.
Great time.
Football was better.
Music was brilliant.
No worries.
Yes.
Everything was sweet.
And as a straight white man, you'd be killing it. Like, there's absolutely nothing you couldn't do,
problem
man.
of I think the nuclear war was a bit of an issue, but you know, as long as you forgot about that one, you're all right.
Yeah, just ignore the fact you might die.
Do you know? But the thing is, though, as well, is there is something to be said for that, because I always think, like, especially in the 60s and shit. In fact, we even had it in the 90s, where, like, if you listened to a song and you really liked it, you might not hear that song again for weeks.
Yeah.
And so when you heard it again, you were like,
tape the radio.
You were like, oh, that's that song that I like. And it was a buzz. Whereas now, if you like something, you can go, I'm just going to go online and listen to everything that person's ever done. And you lose it's less special. You know what I mean?
How's that relevant to...
Oh, it's not. We go off on fucking tangents, mate. Don't you worry. We go around the fucking
I was just going, how is that going to be connected to anything?
So here's the thing, right? So again...
Did you not have CDs in your time?
What, sorry?
You not have CDs in your time?
Maybe you had to go and buy the CD.
Yeah, but then you can play it as much as you like.
Yeah, but before
you have
that...
CD players, like portable CD players.
I remember before that.
Oh, that was way out of my league, portable CD player.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember? I remember the first MP3 player, and it could hold about 12 songs. And I remember being like, "This is the most technology will ever advance. This is the best thing ever."
Yeah.
And then iPhone came along and fucking changed the game.
I was baffled when wireless internet came about.
Oh, that was mental.
That was mental. I was like, how are they? How are they giving me data through the air? Like, completely disregarding the fact television exists. You know, I was like, this is impossible. You need cables for the internet.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I first saw someone have wireless headphones. That's how much of an idiot I am. I assumed they had downloaded all the songs on the headphones.
You fucking idiot.
I'm still suspicious. I'm still suspicious of Bluetooth headphones.
Yeah. What's your suspicion?
No, I like what I don't know. You're right. It's a bit weird, isn't it?
It is weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't like Bluetooth. Yeah, but this is just three old men complaining about the future.
No, I love it. I love it. I just didn't get it at the beginning. Like I just.
I'll tell you what, the music nowadays is crap as well. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. Insulate Britain, specifically, what are its main goals and aims?
So what we were asking for was to insulate all social housing by 2025.
Okay.
It's to look after the poorest in our society.
So how much would that cost?
Billions.
Like what? Like 3 or?
Well, if you look at various organisations to insulate the whole country, I think the Construction Leadership Council put it at £530 billion.
Whoa, that's a lot
to insulate.
So that's a lot. That's more than like fucking. That's more than GDP, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I had it worked out, but I had it written down.
So over
percentage of GDP.
So by 2025,
I think GDP is like 180 billion a year or something like that, isn't it? So
if GDP is 180 billion a year and that cost 500 billion, then and you want to do by 2025.
Oh no, so the social housing was a less of an ask. The rest of the housing in the UK was by 2030, so that was over the next 10 years.
But even so, we'd have to dedicate about the same level that we dedicate to the NHS.
Wouldn't it be cheaper to just knock them down and rebuild them?
I think I worked it out. It's like 5% of GDP over 10 years.
I think NHS is about 10, isn't it? Yeah, so about half the NHS budget.
Over 10 years.
It's absolutely...
a lot, though, innit?
Can I just say...
Sorry. Just to say, like, so... so it was it's an investment. So what we were saying is it would create hundreds of thousands of jobs. And this is the kind of figures that are required to decarbonise, right? It's going to cost a lot of money. It
is a big. I mean, there's no getting around it. It's a big fucking ask, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
that's just 15% of emissions.
But what?
That's just 15% of the UK's emissions. So to decarbonise, you're talking like trillions and trillions of pounds,
We're fucked, aren't we? Oh, shit.
It's absolutely look, obviously this is the immigrant here speaking, but it is baffling that this country is so progressed, like technologically, engineering for hundreds of years. It's cold since the beginning of time, and you still haven't found a way to have warm houses. Like, your house is fucking freezing. Every time I go to a house, it's fucking freezing. Like, why is it still cold?
They're the worst in Europe.
Why haven't you not sorted this shit out, like, in the last 200 years? Why you, like, you go to my house in Greece, like my parents' house I grew up in, it's fucking warmer than the houses here. And Greece is a warm country. How do you fuck this up in such a big way? How are the houses so cold in this country that I have to run heating 24/7 to fucking survive in this fucking situation? Any other, like, Greece has earthquakes, right? Our houses can withstand earthquakes. Here you have cold. Why are your houses still fucking freezing? Why are they so cold? Why are you so fucking backwards with the houses? Like, why has it taken up to 2022, well, just now, to decide that you have to, like, fix the houses? Like, it's freezing. Every corner I go, like, I'm fucking cold. Like, warm your houses up.
Well,
Sometimes
I suggest that you
fresh
put a
eyes.
fucking jumper on, George, and stop moaning.
Yeah, that is the most northern thing ever. Just while you hover over the kettle for a few hours.
Exactly.
That's why you like tea.
Put the heating on, do a few star jumps, and chill the fuck out.
I have a friend in London, Mark. He runs a comedy club. He runs Top Secret.
Oh yeah.
And the doors are. He grew up in Doncaster or something, so he's northern.
Yeah.
And the doors were open in the club, and the staff are cold. I was like, Mark, come on, man! Like, this place is like making bank. Like, just get a fan heater, right, to warm up your stuff. And he said, no, like, it's cold. Just put a jumper on, a jacket. Like, but it's not enough. Like, what do you do in your house? Like, put the air conditioning on. And Mark said, like, up until I had a baby, if I was cold in the house, I would do push-ups. And I'm like, that is fucking mental.
That's a proper Donny lad.
I mean, that's insane, isn't it?
That's a proper Donny lad.
That's insane.
But in all seriousness, like, what we looked at was like,
I was serious.
No, I get
like,
it.
fix the fucking
Trust
houses.
me, I get it.
No, go on. What were you saying?
9,000. There was a think tank that said that 9,700 elderly people a year freeze to death, basically, in their homes because they can't heat their homes. We've got 3.2 million households living in fuel poverty, which means, like, kids are having to either live in cold houses or not eat properly. You know what I mean? So it's like a massive national scandal, like, what's going on. Yeah. And I think one of the reasons that it's happened is greed. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I thought you were going to say Greece. Because you looked at me.
He did look at you.
You went greed. I'm like, oh my God, here it comes.
You've been waiting for it.
Fucking hell.
What can we blame Greece for?
What, sorry?
What can we blame Greece for?
Lack of plates.
No, the European economy, guys. The European economy. We really helped the debt ceiling.
I mean, you did spend outside your means for a little while as well. Have I inadvertently?
No, Varoufakis is big on this, isn't it? That they got fucked over massively, the Greek population.
Yeah, because, you know, we have never misdeclared taxes in Greece. Never fudged the numbers. No, in my country has been.
They lent money to people that couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Like, they were just fucking lending people money, like, because it was all a blank check.
I remember Germany going looking at the camera. I don't know if you remember that, when you were like, look, yes, Greek people, you're going through a lot of stuff, but you borrow the money, pay it back. Don't be irresponsible.
Is that Germany?
I remember thinking, listen, Germany, don't call me. Do you know what's irresponsible?
Yeah.
Lending Greece 350 billion euros, expecting it back with interest.
But also as well, I don't recall Germany paying back reparations particularly well, did they? They weren't particularly happy about that shit.
Well, it's loan sharking, isn't it? It's the same shit. Like, they're just the biggest gang on the block, basically, and they try to get away with it.
Have I inadvertently?
Banks, I mean.
Have I inadvertently built the wobbliest table of all time?
Yeah, but
it is very wobbly, but
it
it's
is.
fine.
Is it all right? Because I've seen it wobble, and I was like, "Oh Jesus, I've not done a good job." Well, do you know what it is? Is there was a specific way of building it, and I couldn't be arsed, and I could have made it more stable, but I decided not to because I'm lazy.
Is this brand new?
It's newish, yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
But it was something like
this is a complete reflection of the building techniques in this fucking country. It's a brand new table and it's fucked. It's the same with the houses. It's cold.
And they didn't build it properly because they couldn't be arsed.
I have a solution. You said like 9,000 old people die from like the cold. Yeah. Like, don't you think if you just let it run, like, all you need to do is either fix climate change or lose 50% of the population? And then, you know, just because you said we can only produce 50% of food, right? We import 50.
Your solution is to wait for the cold to kill them off.
Just like either lose 50% of the population or like grow more food. Like just lose the population, I say.
Piece of piss.
That's why I'm a big fan of COVID. I don't think it's not enough.
The views you've told George Sack do not represent the views of Bigoted Podcast. Okay, cool. So insulate houses. Social housing specifically.
Yeah, and then the rest of the country by 2030.
Okay, and then anything else, or is it just that?
That was it.
That's literally it. Okay, and it is, let's be fair, it's a big ask. Now, and it'll only do 15%, which actually emissions. Is, to be fair, quite a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like 15% is a fair fucking chunk. But for the money that you spend, it's a lot. Like I'm about like, yeah, okay, climate change is an issue and we need to do more to solve it and that. But the money that you spend versus the gains?
No, but this is the big... So, in terms of... This is why academics say that insulating and retrofitting is the first thing you do, because for every £1 you spend, you get £2 back.
Oh,
so the bills go down, energy use goes down.
And I'm back on your side now. I'm back on your side now, because the minute that I hear an academic has said and we're going off this, I go, yeah, all right, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's my bit where I go, yeah, fair enough, they've listened to experts.
Well, yeah, no, it is every £1 you spend, you get £1 back. So it's an investment.
What are the criticisms of it? Why aren't we doing this then?
Because we were sat on the motorways. That was the main criticism.
Well, this is interesting because this is what everyone I think knows about Insulate Britain. So I think if you stopped Insulate, like somebody in the street and said, somebody in Preston, you stopped them and said, what do you know about Insulate Britain? What can you tell me? They wouldn't go, well, they are looking to insulate all social houses by 2025 and all houses by 2030. They'd go, oh, they're the middle-class pricks that block up motorways. That's what they would think.
Some of them, I think, yeah. I mean, there was a really interesting this woman Jackie who was like helping out with the campaign. She lived up in Newcastle and she just went round Gateshead and Newcastle and just recorded people's thoughts about Insulate Britain, and it was fascinating. Like in terms of how the media try to slant it, that we're hated all around the country.
Yeah.
A massive amount of those ordinary working class Geordies were like, well, if they're doing something to help us, like, more power to them. Do you see what I mean? They kind of got it.
But
so,
do you reckon...
It'd be interesting to go.
Do you reckon that would still be the case if you blocked roads around Newcastle?
Maybe not.
Because I reckon that they'd...
They would kick right off.
I'll fucking throw them in the fucking Tyne!
But that's why it's important we stay...
I cannot get to the tune.
I cannot get to Gateshead Shopping Centre, man!
But that's why it's important we stick to London, I think, for like everything.
Oh, so so the plan is to stick to the London.
Well, it's the place where, like, in all due respect, if you did do stuff in Newcastle, most of the media wouldn't really give a shit.
That is true.
Yeah, so like you have to be in where
that is true.
Where the politicians are, where the media are, like where everything is at, and you create this kind of. And the M25 was like it was symbolic of how this whole system is fucked.
What other kind of protests are you doing
next?
Yeah. What's in there?
There's similar stuff.
Yeah, because I travel all over the country, so if you could just give us a little heads up.
Yeah, because comedians drive around.
If you get stuck in a traffic jam, that's your duty as a citizen. So you're doing a service to.
If I'm stuck in a traffic jam,
mate, I'll tell you what.
Do you know?
I fucking lose it at motorway directions, mate.
I respect this kind of like protesting, like because I mean the country I come from, they burned.
But they fucking love a protest.
Oh, we love a protest. We love a protest.
What's the area in Athens? It's like
it's
like anarchist zone, isn't it?
Yeah, Exarchia is called.
Yeah.
And like it's
fucking cool.
It's fucked. Exarchia is like a little place like a little area in Athens where it's like anarchist communes.
Like they governed by themselves.
Yeah, they come and they.
Isn't there somewhere in Seattle like that as well?
There's also one in
Portland had its own little zone.
That was it. Yeah.
In Denmark, you have in Copenhagen, you have Christiania.
Oh,
which
yes,
is like it's very independent.
So hang about. So it's an anarchist compound.
Well, no, it's not like it isn't like a self-regulated and self-governed. It's just that's where they gather and that's where they set off from when they go into like protests.
And the police have to think twice before they go in.
Yeah, like it's like a. I've gone there for drinks. Like they have great cocktail bars. You know? The anarchists know how to have fun, man.
Yeah, that is true. If you're gonna party, you want to party. You don't want to party with pacifists, do you? Fuck that shit. It's 9 p.m. Let's get to bed. Shut the fuck up, mate.
Get rid of the squares. But we love a protest. Like a lot of cocktails. The lot. I mean, I don't think you're doing enough. But you know,
I tend to agree, actually.
You know, but hang on. I love, you know, there should be some way of like deciding who goes through. Like if someone has to go to the hospital, like you know, but there should be paperwork. You know, bring your paperwork with you.
Are you not worried, by the way? Right. So
do people get stuck? What happens?
You block these motorways, right?
Very few. No, hardly any.
I've noticed, right now, because I've seen a few of them online. Right, I've seen a few of the videos online. They go viral because it's very clickbaity, and people like to share it and go, "Well, if that was me, I'd run over that old lady's tits." You know what I mean? Like they get really aggressive. It's emotive, right? Now, I noticed that the first couple of times that they did it, people were sat in their cars, very British, and they were going, "Well, how dare you? I will be late for Zumba. This is an outrage. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to become more and more furious," in that very British way that they do. But recently, I look at them now and you see people dragging people off the road, and you see fucking big
I love that.
guys.
I love that.
I kind of like watching it.
I love
it. And then you see some other person run back and take their place, and then you see some other guy and then it's like a collective effort to get these people off the road, right? Now, I genuinely think that if you follow that to its natural progression, eventually, do you not think someone's going to get run over?
Potentially, yeah.
Fingers crossed.
But is that... Is
because
that like
it'll be a great publicity for you guys. Come on, if someone gets you are secretly praying someone gets run over. If someone gets run over, fuck, you be all over the news like, this person ran them over for what?
Yeah, this is can't wait to walk out of these fucking interviews, lad.
As much as he's joking, right? But there's like, obviously we don't want that to happen. But if you look at civil rights movements of the past, civil resistance movements. Yeah, like when some people die, right? That's just what happens when you know, in Kazakhstan last week, they fucking murdered 30 people. Like it don't.
Did they?
Yeah.
For what?
For protesting.
Wow.
They've locked up 3,000. They arrested 3,000 people and they killed about 30 people. Nobody hears about it.
Was it for Insulate Kazakhstan?
Well, it was.
It's nice. Insulate.
Their fuel prices had risen.
Wow. Okay, and they kicked off
because their fuel. They had loads of natural gas. And they stopped the subsidies on it. So they started protesting. There's probably a little bit more complex.
And they fucked up Bitcoin mining.
Maybe.
They fucked up Bitcoin. Oh, why? Okay.
But what I'm saying is like, people die in civil resistance things. Yeah. And what we're talking about this is the thing, like on your climate change thing, like she was saying, the woman, I don't know her name, she was really good, but it's like she was saying we're fucked by 2050, right? That's what she said. But then there isn't any graphic description, and like you're both comedians,
of what
and
fuck looks like.
Of what that looks like, right? So there's 7 billion people on the planet.
So you're thinking like Mad Max?
Yeah, well, when she's saying we're done, what does that mean? Now, I know, like, you're both comedians and we all like to have a laugh and a joke and all that stuff. But, like, if you was in a Holocaust camp in 1943, like, and I'm being serious now.
Yeah.
Like,
just
would you...
As a comedian...
Liam, make sure the mic's close to you for this serious bit.
Can you not, for 1 second, just not try and cut through with, like, humour and trying to take the piss?
Of course.
But if you're in a Holocaust camp in 1943 and you're amongst horrific experiences of death.
Which side am I on?
And this is you can't do it. See, and this is the problem. He can't do it. He can't sit in it. He can't sit in it for like 2 seconds. It's too uncomfortable.
You're asking me to picture. You know, you're asking me to picture it. You're asking me to picture it. If I'm picturing it, which side am I on? It's important.
But the funny thing,
you're on the fucked side.
Okay, I'm on the fucked side.
Yeah, you're not a guard.
The funny thing as well is when you say to a comedian, "Be serious for a second," it's like a red rag to a bull, and I could just see George's face, and he was like,
Yeah.
But
no,
make
let's
a
talk
point.
about the Second
Make
World
a
War,
point,
right?
make a point,
Like,
make a point.
no, yeah. So during the Second World War, it was a horrific time.
Sure.
Now, black humour, like I have black humour all the time.
Sure.
Like gallows humour. Fuck me when this apocalypse comes, like, and we take the piss out of it, like, and that's cool. And I think that happened like in the First World War. There was like magazines, you know, they were experiencing their mates' heads being blown off left, right, and centre. And there was these magazines where they would just talk about body parts being found in the trenches. That's part of being human, right? It's a way of coping, isn't it? Humour and stuff like that.
Some of the people who have to deal with the worst stuff have the darker sense of humour.
Yeah,
so
of course,
doctors,
you have to.
for example.
You have to, don't you? To
It's
get
a coping mechanism. You have to distance yourself.
But on the other side of it, it's also a form of denial, right? So you're not willing... So... If we're all here now and in this thing and it's all cool, but what if it was like 1943 and we were in the war, right? It'd be shit. Or if we were experiencing, you know, if we were a Jew in the Holocaust camp, it would have been horrific.
Yeah.
Right. So, and what we're saying is that this kind of like 70 years of like relative ease of living that we've had for the past however many decades in this country, at least, is, you know, if we're not careful, it's all over, right? And the thing is like, we need to come together as a society and think about what's important and what isn't. And it's like, so yeah, it's really serious. You know, we're talking about the. I mean, I can't.
I'm sorry.
Every time I say something serious,
no. I am taking it. I am taking it seriously. But you just made me. You just give me a nervous smile now. So, but I'm genuinely. I don't have any jokes about it.
Well, I mean, I think myself. But just
to go back to the point. The reason why I said this is when you said, "Oh, somebody's going to die."
Yeah.
Right. And the thing with climate activism generally over the past few decades is it's all been very nice. It's all been very, let's go on a march. Let's go and wave a flag. And what Insulate Britain is this new thing of saying, you better fucking take this seriously, right?
Yeah.
Because, and yes, you can accuse us of like bad things happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, bad things potentially do happen. Like in the civil rights movement, like people's buses got blown up,
but the
and
thing
people got murdered.
Is when
you know what you should do.
I think there's differences. So I think the first difference is that there's an immediacy between in the civil rights movement. There was an immediacy right then and there that it needed to happen. That and every day mattered and counted because the discrimination and racism that they were fighting against was an immediate thing. Whereas this is a threat that is it's a train that's coming down the track. But at the moment, we can't really see the train.
Not if you're in Tuvalu and the sea's about fucking that far off the sea.
Sure. Where?
You see what I mean? So people in the global south, like I think she said it in that podcast as well, people, if you look at the Tigray region, there's wars in Ethiopia. Thousands of women are being raped in war crimes in Ethiopia at the moment. So what lens are you looking at it from, Freddie?
Yeah.
Right? Because to those people, it's fucking happening now.
Yeah, but they're not doing it. They're not the ones protesting. You are.
No, but what I'm saying to you is you're saying like it's not happening right now, but it is to millions of people. Bangladesh, you know, are really struggling because their land's so low level. Does it not matter because they're brown people? You know, and I know you're not saying that, but like this is like
that went fucking serious quick, didn't it? I went, oh shit.
But this is the point with climate change. So it's like, do those lives not matter? And what we're saying is they fucking do matter.
Sure, but the thing is, again, is I struggle to see whether or not like it's worth having someone run over. Do you know what I mean? Like I think for me, it's not worth that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not down to you to decide. It's the driver who runs them over.
Sure, and I guess it's the person that puts themselves in harm's way. And I think if they know what they're doing and what they're potentially... But I wonder how many of them do. Because I also look at the people who do it, and a lot of them seem to be 20-year-olds. Do you know what I mean?
I think the majority were retired.
Were they?
Yeah, they're old.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll freeze to death in 20 years.
Don't you remember like this one who's like threatening to run over this lady, and this lady was like she was retired. She seemed retired, and the car was pushing against her. She was going. So funny. The car was pushing against her, and she was going, "Ow, ah." you're running me over. And I was thinking, just get out. But she was like the resolve of this old woman going, like, I'm going to protest of you running over.
She wasn't that old, actually. She's in her 30s or
was she?
40s.
Was she?
Maybe,
do you know what as well? Because I was going to say, they've done a very clever thing here. Because there's no one more stubborn than an old woman.
It was very Gandhi-like. Like, I respected that. Like, you know what?
Well, Gandhi's a big inspiration to it all,
And you know what?
He did sleep with children, Gandhi, didn't he?
No, he just beat up his wife.
No,
Did he beat up his wife?
Just classic wife.
No, well, I heard that he slept in the same bed as them, and he was like, I'm just testing my ability to not do anything.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
that is a defense Michael Jackson really missed out on.
It's the Prince Andrew defense.
But you know what you should do, like when you block.
That's great.
You want to get that on Good Morning Britain? Richard Madeley wouldn't have the balls to do that, would he?
When you block the roads, what time of the day did you block them?
Generally in the morning.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, they go for maximum damage.
Yeah, but in the morning...
The idea is like, if they're going to work, they're not that bothered. If you're trying to stop people going home, they're like,
that is my point.
Fucking hell, I need to go home.
That's the point. If you block it in the morning, then you're just preventing people from going to work. That's a piece of piss. Like, people go, oh, why are you late? Or, you know, fucking... But going home at 5 p.m., that is maximum damage.
Oh, yeah. They'd be straight through. They wouldn't even be stopping.
Block the road at 4:30 on a Friday, like p.m., and people will die.
Well, do you know we've been...
People like...
That old woman would be like, ow, ow. It'd just be like a cloud of dust where that old woman was.
Well, you know, like, sociologists have looked into judges, and there's... research that suggests they give harsher sentencing in the afternoon.
Yes, that's
than
true.
They do
and
in
also,
the morning.
as well, driving instructors pass more people in the morning than they do in the afternoon because they're like, what, R4? Do you know what? As well, I've got a story about this. So, I when I was a kid, I had a pet hamster called Weetabix, right? And my family
Who
went
called it
to
Weetabix?
me because it was little and brown. I tried eating it for breakfast.
He called it shit.
Yeah, well, age 7. Mum, I want to call my hamster shit. That's what I want to call him. So we went to like Paris or something like that. I think like somewhere, I can't remember. I went for like a weekend or something for like holiday. And we gave...
You went to Paris?
Yeah.
Wow.
What?
We found the middle class person in the mist.
Really? Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to...
This guy couldn't afford a CD player. He couldn't afford a CD player.
I don't mean to brag, but we were able to save up and afford about 60 to 80 pounds for 3
No, that
people.
is not... There was no Ryanair back then. You were paying the top dollar. Don't give me that shit.
Why do you think Paris is a middle class weekend holiday?
Of course it's a middle class. It's Paris.
Unless you're an artist in the 60s, then it's
I was
like...
an artist in the 60s.
Yeah,
you didn't let me know where... I didn't tell you where I stayed yet.
Is Paris a middle class destination? Yes.
I stayed,
it is literally Paris.
I stayed under the bridge and ate like Lady and the Tramp. I had to wait for chefs to leave meatballs out, and I fucking shared it with a...
was it? It was Paris.
Mate,
anyway, tell me about your hamster.
I kissed a King Charles Cavalier. Anyway, right. Anyway.
Posh cunt.
So, right. It's the first time in my life I've been called a posh cunt. So anyway, right, we went on holiday. We come back, right, and the hamster had stayed with my granddad only for 2 days, came back, and the hamster wasn't eating. You really can't believe me. The hamster wasn't eating. Yeah, my granddad was Richard Gere. He'd shoved it up his arse. The hamster wasn't eating or doing anything like that. Right, he just lying there like, yo, I'm not right. And so we took it to the vet, and the vet looked at this hamster and went, "It's got depression." And I remember thinking, that's bollocks. And I remember looking at the fucking clock and it was 4:45. And I remember, like, now looking and thinking, that was a vet that just wanted to go home. He was like, fuck a hamster. Who gives a fuck about hamster? He looked at it and went, it's got depression. Now, for a human being, it takes years to be diagnosed with depression. He took one look at it and went, yeah, it's sad. Nothing you can do either. Just let it die. It's fucking shocking.
I could put it down for you if you want.
Shouldn't have told the hamster you're going to Paris. But we are staying with the granddads.
But yeah, what were we talking about just then?
I've been on Good Morning Britain. I just remembered.
You've been on Good Morning Britain?
Yeah.
What were you
I was
thinking about?
I just remember that now, like because it's just I'm like, oh yeah, I've done that. I was it was like one of those little segments when they argue like a point, like have two people arguing a different point, and then this girl was saying you shouldn't lie in order to get a date, because many men lie to get a date. You know, many men pretend they are feminists.
Oh yeah, and women never do that.
Yeah. Many men pretend they're feminists, or like they're about equal rights, or and then it turns out they are not. But they're saying this to go on a date, and I was like, but everybody lies to go on dates. And I had a moment like, I didn't have a walkout moment, but I said at the one point, like, I said, look, we all lie.
How are you an expert on not lying on dates?
Oh, they just wanted the comedian to be like...
How are you a dating expert, you ugly cunt?
They just wanted the comedian to just be like, to be the counter argument.
Is there a difference in that between lying and withholding the truth?
And I said that. I said exactly that. I said, look, we all lie. We all we all pretend we are better than we are. Yeah. Like I don't mention my Tinder profile that I don't declare the correct amount of plastic bags in the supermarket. And I was like, many people have filters, and they use like different angles to look better. So if women can use a filter or a push-up bra or something like that to make them look hotter than they are, why can't I hide the fact that I am a massive racist, right? And I said that, and as I said it, the camera cut to the two BAME presenters of Good Morning. Both South Asian presenters, and they both went, well, you can't do that, actually.
You fucking idiot. Have you been invited back?
No, I have not been invited back.
No, not been invited back.
You ruined your Good Morning.
Yeah, my streak. Never had the chance to walk out.
Let me say, though, right, so here's the thing, here's something that's always focused on Insulate Britain, and I think it's a really hard argument for you to argue against, and I think that you're probably going to know what it is. It's okay, so you're blocking these motorways. What about the person who had to, like, the dying fucking mum in the hospital and they weren't able to see her? What about the person who got sacked from their job and is now living in poverty? Like,
well, they have nowhere to go anyway. where are they going?
No, I mean, they're going to their job and then they got sacked.
You don't get sacked because Insulate Britain blocked the roads.
No, I know, but if it's like, one more time, and
but there's Insulate Britain.
But realistically, amongst the thousands of people that have been delayed for whatever reason, there must be at least several
missed
people
the flight.
I've missed it. This has happened. That's happened. This has happened. It's impacted my life in a massive way. How do you reconcile with that?
I just did, didn't I?
Tough shit.
Before.
What do you mean?
I just said why in before.
Oh right. So it's it's worth it because down the line is okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is the big point, right? Where if you don't emotionally connect to the reality of what's happened,
you got to break some eggs, Freddie.
In the next 10 to 20 years, then you will become outraged that somebody, which didn't even happen. That's bollocks. That people, if they did lose their jobs because they were in a shit job, and their employer was shit, and so they probably better off.
Yeah, but
that didn't happen anyway. But they didn't. That didn't happen.
But realistically, you can you can definitely say that over the thousands of people that that have been involved in it, it might have happened, and if it continues to happen, it's a likelihood that'll happen.
Yeah, it is. So it might have happened. There's a likelihood. A very few number of people will be affected, and there's this 99.9% chance that asteroid is coming to Earth. Right.
Okay.
So this is happening.
But
people and the people that are outraged. By the stuff that you're talking about.
It's a metaphor, Freddie. You won't get it.
Aren't able to emotionally connect with this truth, which is definitely happening within a few decades.
I would say that there's other ways of shouting about it and showing your point and stuff like that. So for me personally, my biggest it's weird, Insulate Britain, for me, because I agree with sort of what the message is.
That was the big thing, wasn't it?
But I don't agree with the way that the message is being delivered.
I feel the same. I feel the same about the IRA. they had a point.
I'm all for freedom, but I fucking loved the Arndale Centre.
they had the point, but my God, they were undiplomatic.
Do you know what? ISIS had a point, but those Twin Towers were fantastic buildings. No, what I mean is I agree with the sentiment. I agree with what what the message is, and I think most people would.
Yeah.
But the delivery of it, I find difficult. So I'm all for protest, but I think that protest should, if it's going to inconvenience people, it should target people in power, people who... so, for example, why not block the roads of Downing Street or Parliament or something like that?
I feel like I'm on talk radio again, Freddie.
Oh, right. Is that what they said?
Yeah, this is the big line, isn't it?
Oh, is that what they said?
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
I had no idea. I don't listen to talk radio because it's talk sport and Sun and all that shit, so I don't fucking bother.
So the big thing... So you said earlier, like, if you went to people in Preston and talked to them about Insulate Britain, and there's a good chance, like, we became known by the British public. 75% of the British public knew about Insulate Britain after 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Now, why did they know about us?
Yeah, but it was due to protest, yeah?
No, but what kind of protest?
What, in terms of...
what were we doing? We were sat on the motorway.
Blocking the roads.
Right? Sat on the motorway. So the only way
that
you get 75% of the UK public to know who you are is to be massively disruptive in that way. If we'd have been doing the things that you're talking about, we'd be lucky to have 10% of the UK public.
Well,
right?
there is this.
So this is the point. And then the other point to it is what we were participating in was not ordinary protest. What we are talking about is civil resistance. So what you need is a critical mass number of people.
Yeah.
So to take part in something. So the point is we obviously... The idea was to have 100 people in prison after 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. So you actually targeted, like...
Well, we were expecting the authorities to say, you can't fucking sit on the motorways like this. Yeah. We can't let you get away with this. So you're going to go to prison.
The authorities, from what I can see, could not have given less of a fuck.
No, they have. They have, like, passed legislation to, like... target protesters. Like, I am with you on this. Like, I think the fact that they have introduced legislation to, like... ban protests. I think it's fucking mad. Like, you should be able to protest. Like, it's a protest. It is in the definition. There's not, like, there's a time and a place for many things, but not the protest. Well, a protest should be taking place wherever the fuck you want. I think there's enough of you.
Well, this is it, isn't it? It's not really a protest if it doesn't ruffle a few feathers.
Yeah, you have to.
But the point is as well is that, like, what civil resistance is about is creating material costs. So it's about power.
Okay.
It's about. So what we were saying is we didn't think 100 people in prison would necessarily tip the state to start to negotiate with us because we knew it wasn't enough people.
Okay.
But there is a number.
Yeah.
Right. So we were guessing it was about 300 to 400 people.
Yeah.
If you can get that many in prison, they'll go, fuck me, these people. And this is, like, historically, this is what's happened in history. So if you look at the Freedom Riders, they challenged segregation on the buses in America.
Okay.
And there was 400 people in prison in America. And Kennedy at the time was trying to go around, and he had the Cold War, and he was trying to say to the world that we were the good guys, we're the freedom, we're the leaders of the free world.
Yeah.
And there was 400 people in prison, right, for trying to challenge segregation. And there was a figure where the number got too big and they snapped, and desegregation in southern buses was scrapped.
Yeah.
Right. So there is a number, right? So that's the idea. And also, like, what Extinction Rebellion were doing in April and October, they got 1,200 arrests and 1,800 arrests, right? Now, the thinking is, if you can get, there's a figure that the authorities will snap at. So it's 3,000 to 4,000. And if you get to that figure, you can force them to negotiate with you because you've got power with this group.
How many of you are out there? How many of you are out there active?
Well, there's different organisations.
There's 3,001 members.
But you look at
the point where it's just one guy.
How many are
But look
there?
at the Gilets Jaunes, right? In the 2018, they were going out every week, weren't they, causing havoc, and they won.
who?
Who's that?
Gilets jaunes in France. They were talking about fuel.
Oh,
again,
yes.
fuel.
The
yellow vests.
Yeah, yellow vests.
But they won. Like, nobody talks about it because they don't want to let you know that
Also
there's
as well,
power.
How many of you are out there then?
There's tens of thousands of.
But it's how many of those?
Tens of thousands go out and protest?
With Insulate Britain, are you talking about specifically?
Who,
so we had 174 people arrested in the recent campaign, and there's different things being organised at the moment. The idea is to get much more than that this year.
But how many of you are there? How many of you are like total like moving around blocking streets?
I just said, so like 174
They were arrested
in the last campaign.
Right.
174 people. There was about 850 arrests. There's 9 people currently in prison.
Okay.
But people are recruiting now to tell people, look what we did with 100 people. Imagine what we could do with.
So it was 100. The question is to me, like maybe I haven't phrased it right. It's not how many are in prison. It's how many of you are there moving about. Because a percentage of you got arrested, but not everybody, right?
Yeah, no, all of us got arrested. 174 people. There was about 100 core people that took part.
So Insulate Britain is 100 people. It started as 100 people.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
I had no idea.
I mean, to be fair, it's done well in terms of
100 people only.
That's what you can do with 100 people.
Yeah.
If you've got...
I've got over 100 Patreons. What the fuck are we doing?
I wanted to talk to you about Patreon. People kept talking to me about Patreon.
Let's go and fucking block the M6. What the fuck are we playing at here? My demands are everyone listen to the podcast by 2025.
You get a free episode if you sit on the motorway with me.
Exactly.
You get... What benefits would you give if you sat on the motorway? What benefits would you give
for somebody sitting on the motorway? I can't really be seen to condone it. Do you know what?
He's bottled it.
Oh, fuck it. Do you know what? If you sit in the middle of the M6 for 12 hours and survive, I will give you a blowjob. And
have you got to have a pod?
No. You just sit there. You just
picketed banner.
T-shirt, little T-shirt, like that, and you just sit there. And if you survive, I'll give you a blowjob wearing the lipstick of your choice.
If there's a homosexual man out there with low standards, please do it.
And in other traffic report today, the M6 has been blocked in both directions by a very desperate gay man.
They've been doing the people annoyed with the Manchester air pollution. They've been doing go slows, haven't they? On the go slows. They've been driving slowly. I think, is it the M60, the ring road?
Oh yeah, that fucking. Look, I mean, the thing is look, I mean, with my job as well.
I love how. Sorry.
With my job as well, right? Is if I don't get to the gig on time, I don't work. I don't get paid.
Yeah.
And it could have massive ramifications for me working with that promoter. Do you know what I mean? It could lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the course of my career, and I'd just be fucking fuming that I couldn't get to the Frog and Bucket on time because some prick was driving his car slow to make a point. It would just drive me insane.
Can you not overtake them?
But no, because they all drive. just fucking hell, George. They all drive in a line. It's not one guy. Just fucking. Listen, there's 4 other lanes, but this one's mine. Right, we got some questions from Patreon. So,
what for me?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Patrons love asking a question. Tarek, I'll read the best ones. Tarek Elkington.
Read the worst ones.
Read all of them.
Yeah, read the worst ones.
Read all of them.
Tarek Elkington. Read all of them. Read the worst ones. Fucking hell. Right, Tarek Elkington, and it might be you repeating yourself. Tarek Elkington says, why do they feel the need to impede the people during their everyday lives just to get their point across? So I think what it's going back to is this whole, why is it the everyday man that has to suffer?
Because
it's the only way you get...
because
noticed.
the everyday, like, basically... Nobody gets to be a bystander now from now on.
Yeah.
You can't decide, climate change, I'm not interested in it.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. Because in 10, 20 years' time, it'll be bothering you. And it'll be bothering your kids.
Okay.
Right? So this is like everybody in society is going to be affected by this. And people, like you've just said, it'd be really inconvenient, right, if you lose your job. But people have just had a little kid who that is their world.
Yeah.
They're, when they're our age, like you said, it's going to be Mad Max, right? Now, I don't know, I haven't got kids either, but I can imagine, friends of mine have had kids, and I look at, and Just think how I'd feel if that little being was mine. I'd feel so much care for them. Do you know what I mean? And I that's not even.
I'd be fucking gutted.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you're pregnant.
I don't want kids either. But what I'm saying is, like, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so, like, what we're saying to the whole of society is we're trying to wake everybody up to this thing. And it's unfortunate, right, that it's come to this. Life isn't fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Here's the thing.
And this is shit.
I mean, let me say this.
I have an anthem for you guys.
Go on.
It's a Manic Street Preacher song.
What?
If you tolerate this, then your children will be next.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was quite deep.
You're right.
You're getting serious now.
Oh, mate, if they have that on the next fucking protest now.
Because you are...
And it's come from fucking
you are the Manic Street Preachers. Shouting to people, if you tolerate this, then you're
maybe you could.
next.
It's the end of the world as we know it. Do a little sing along on the M2. Oh mate, that'd fucking finish me. I don't mind being sat in traffic, but listening to fucking Kumbaya would finish me right off. So here's the thing, right? Here's something that I've just thought is I get that you had to disrupt the common man in order to get the media attention, right? But you've got it now. Everyone knows who Insulate Britain is.
It's not enough, though, is
so
it?
why not now target like the elites and the politicians and stuff like that? Because you could shift now. And at the moment, I would say that the average perception of Insulate Britain is negative. But I think it would switch fucking quick if they went after politicians and royalty and people in power, because everyone likes to watch them get inconvenienced.
Yeah, I think like in terms of what we're specifically trying to do, we're not that interested in public opinion. We're not worried about it. What we're trying to
That's
do
really interesting.
is convince a small number, a relatively small number of people to say this is fucking wrong, and we're prepared to accept the consequences. And what it will mean is that at some point in the next year or two, the state will snap. And unfortunately, the way that you make the state snap is to create the kind of material disruption required. You have to disrupt the public. So it means a fuel crisis.
That's
it means,
really
but it means the shelves on the supermarket have to start going bare. It means the whole country needs to, do you remember the fuel strikes we had it recently, didn't we?
Yeah.
Do you remember like all the fuel?
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing, right, that needs to happen, because then because what you said, like the state kind of almost let it happen, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think they misjudged. I think they thought it would be over in a couple of weeks, and it carried on. Right?
Yeah.
So they misjudged it a little bit, but they know if they imprison 100+ people, it's going to be this huge national event, because it hasn't happened. So, and the only way that you can make them snap is to affect the general public in the way that we work. I think
it's so interesting that you said that public opinion is not really part of our thing. I think that's really interesting, because for me personally, if I was running your thing, which I'm obviously not, but if I was, that'd be the most important thing. That'd be the
way
single...
that we are. We're defined by like public relations and all this kind of stuff.
But do you not think
there's a question of morality where we understand it doesn't matter what people think. We know we're right.
But the thing is, though, is people will resist like mad against things they just don't like. So things that they know, for example, are morally and ethically and logically sound and correct, they will resist them like mad if they just don't like the person that's putting that onto you. And so I think that you get a lot more traction if you were liked. Do you know what I mean?
But they said the same thing about when they were challenging racism in the American Deep South. They were saying the same things, right? If you just need to bring the public with you, if you just go and sit in buses on this way, that's no way to protest. That's no way to do things. You're not going to bring people along with you, because most people in the South were white and they were quite happy with racism. It was all right for them. Yeah, do you know what I mean? It didn't bother them. And so the thing is,
it was advantageous, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Slavery and
to be fair, like this system, people like their cars, they like their holidays, they like Amazon, they like all this comfortable life. So of course they're gonna object to this stuff. But what it'll take is a small number of people to say, we're not willing to participate in this. Now, at some point, the state will snap and hundreds will be in prison. And then it's up to society to say, how many people as a society can we see imprisoned before we start to think, what the fuck's going on here?
Okay.
Do you see what I mean? So it's
I love that the main way you have decided to like infuriate the British public is to block the roads. It's such a British fucking the roads. It's the roads. It's either the roads or block the pubs, but there's too many pubs.
Mate. If it was block the pubs,
can you imagine?
Fuming.
Can you imagine? Like, there's nothing else. What else can you do?
Yeah.
How else can you infuriate British people? The roads.
Close the chippies.
It'd
be good. Wayne Blackburn says, if it's all about climate change, why block roads, cause traffic, and make more pollution? Which I think that's a short-term way of looking at it, no?
Yeah. It's like...
So you're saying, all right, okay, we're causing more pollution today, but over the course of the last 50 years...
It's like a really minimal amount of extra pollution. It's like, again, that's like the talk radio, the Sun... that's like the narrative that they put out.
Yeah, I don't get that argument because, like I say, I think that the extra pollution that you cause by closing that one road for 3 hours or whatever is nothing in the grand scheme of things. The other argument against you that I don't get is the hypocrite argument where they go, well, I think you'll find that you drove here today. I think you'll find that you're wearing pants. And those pants are... And it's like, well, it's this idea that unless you live... the most carbon neutral life
we're all guilty,
possible,
aren't we, living in this system?
Totally. And so I don't think that it's necessarily hypocritical to be like, okay, so I drive a car, I go on holiday once a year, but I still want to stop climate change, but I recognise that my behaviour isn't perfect.
Also, cars are not the greatest source of CO2 emissions. It is mostly animal farming.
But again, the thing is, though, is you don't need to be an absolute vegan that only goes on holiday to Cornwall, that drives an electric car. That, that only has solar energy and stuff. There comes a point where you go, okay, I'm complicit in this as well, but I'm still calling it out. So I don't think it's necessarily hypocritical.
No, that's the thing. So say, like, for instance, it's not me, but I look at sort of like a tradesman, right, who's like a plumber or an electrician or a bricklayer. They have to drive a diesel van to feed their... Well, generally, tradesmen, most tradesmen drive diesel vans to go around, make their business operate, to provide for their families. And according to that argument, because they have to use those vehicles to provide for their kids and whatever, if they've got an opinion on climate or anything, it's like, you're a fucking hypocrite. You drive a diesel van. Hang on a minute, I've got to drive this van to like provide for my family. It's a great tool for everybody, like the media's tool to say to everybody, don't fucking speak out about this because you'll be labelled a hypocrite too.
I get it.
I hate those people. I hate those people who just say, someone will say something like, oh, I'm vegan to help the environment. And they go, well, you still drive a car. You're like, I'm doing something.
Right.
What the fuck are you doing? I'm doing something.
Let's see if we can rattle through these because I'm conscious of time. Do you think...
Did you edit this at all?
Richard Glasper... Oh, no, I don't edit it at all.
Do you not? Okay.
Editing? Fuck that shit, mate. Editing's for pussies and people with time. Richard Glasper thinks, do you think what you're doing is helping your cause? The publicity you're receiving overall is negative. Is that worth it? And I think that you have said, you've covered that where you've said it is worth it in terms of we're not really bothered about public opinion. We're bothered about the awareness of, disrupting and getting column inches and getting those numbers.
The other thing as well is like, there's this example of, I don't mean to keep banging on about Second World War, but it's quite an important time in history. And there was this evidence of people that took in Jews in Holland and Germany and different places, people that protected Jews at that time. There wasn't any rhyme or reason to who would do that. So it wasn't like whether you were rich, poor, what kind of job you did. There wasn't any, it was like completely random as to who did that and who didn't. And this guy that wrote about it said that the big determining factor was self-knowledge. And
not being a Nazi.
But then again, some Nazis... you know, Schindler sort of protected Jews and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but I don't know if he was a full Nazi, but you know what I mean.
I don't think he was.
Okay. Well, he was around. He was in and around.
Not the full Nazi.
He was in and around. Yeah. But like, my point is like, so through this campaign, what we do is we go and do talks all around the country.
Yeah.
And we're saying to people, look, we did this. These are the reasons why. This is your responsibility now at this time in history as a citizen. And you will, and what the idea is you will uncover enough people to, in the next campaign, become more powerful. So if you could get 1,000 people, for instance, to do the next thing, you're in business.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean?
So you want more people currently.
Yes, we need more people. Insulate Britain, we didn't have enough people. We acknowledge that. But look at what we did with 100 people. Look at the waves that we made.
So is Insulate Britain carrying on now? Or are you going to become something else?
At the moment, Insulate Britain are carrying on. Yeah, so, we'll see what happens.
There's a couple of other things here from Kieran and Michael Simpson that are both stuff that I feel like we've covered. We've got one more question that I want to end on, and I quite like this because it's in a different vein than what we've talked about. Cool. Lee Mather says, ultimately, doesn't global warming feel inevitable to you? As we can't just insulate our way out of this mess, surely the only way out of this is a huge technology advancement such as nuclear fusion to provide a clean, unlimited energy source. Without that, we're doomed no matter how well insulated our lofts are. Yeah,
I mean, nuclear energy is great, but everybody kicks off when they hear about a nuclear factory being made because they're uneducated, because they think like it's the worst thing happened. A nuclear factory near us, you're like, but it's very safe. That's what happened. Bill Gates tried to start nuclear factories, and people think he's a conspiracy theorist. Like,
I'm not sure how safe the waste is. Quite tricky, and especially
but let the kids worry about it.
Well, that's the thing. So
we all love X-Men. I don't see what the fucking problem is.
Some people obviously say, you shouldn't talk like that, like it's too late, and to some extent I agree. Like, it's never too late, and every point of a degree that we can stop could like help. Maybe it means we don't go fully extinct as a species, or maybe it allows some life forms in the sea or something to carry on living. So we should definitely keep going. But one of my big things is like, you know, when I'm feeling, because in all seriousness, like a lot of the time, like you think you get like quite apathetic. You think, what's the fucking point to anything? The whole world's going to end, you know? You know what I mean? It can like take over you. And sometimes you just have to like live in the moment, live in the day, and live in gallows humor. Yeah. And then, but then at other times when I think about it, it's like, one person that I can speak to through doing this, if you can start, because what we're talking about here ultimately is like life and death. We're talking about like what it means to be a human being. Okay. What does it mean to like seize the day? And when you start to like look into the possibilities that society collapse and this thing could all end, you start to appreciate your life and your friends and the people that you love and the people that are in your life. And so like this is like really important. And I think like, you know, the more people that we can connect to see, like, life isn't about going fucking shopping on a Saturday. That's not what life's about. It's about the people that you love. It's about being kind to people in your community. It's about being a good person, you know, all these kinds of things. Sure. So, like, that's what it, even if we are doomed, what I'm doing still feels important on some levels for those reasons, because there's still loads of good that we can do. We can just be kinder to each other, can't we? You know, like on Twitter and that, it's just so like divisive.
I've given up on Twitter.
I've given up on it.
You've given up on Twitter?
Yeah, it's just pointless. It's just a lot of people shouting at each other for everything. Like, I hate what
polarization.
I hate what they did with Molly May, you know, like that Love Island girl.
Yeah. She can fuck up.
No, because
I think that as well.
Shut up, man. She's a 23-year-old who's like, I've succeeded because I work 24 hours a day. Like, I'm work really hard. The people were like, but you don't understand about the marginalization. You're like, she's 23. What kind of stupid shit have you come up with when you were 23?
She's a
23-year-old.
Wait. Young She's 23. She's an adult.
Yeah, doesn't matter if it's dude. At 23, I shot myself like so many times, right? Yeah, like it's pointless. What you do at 23, you're so fucking stupid still. People are stupid at 35.
But she learns. Hopefully, she's learning.
Yeah, but she's learning. But the amount of like vitriol that was thrown at this poor 23-year-old who just
I don't think she's that poor.
She misfired. She misfired.
Yeah,
she can fuck off.
It was a misfire.
I'll tell you what.
It's misogynistic. It's misogynistic.
It's created a bit of polarization.
It's misogynistic. It's a pretty girl. It's misogynistic.
No. It's not misogyny.
It's definitely
not misogyny. I'll tell you what it is.
I think.
It's her having this thing that, the reason that I'm successful is because I work hard. No, the reason that you're successful is because you're fit. That's the reason.
And she works hard.
She works hard, fine. But if she looked like she worked in a fucking chippy and she was a size 20 and she had saggy tits that fucking
They are beautiful also. They are beautiful also, guys.
She would not be on Love Island. She wouldn't have had any of the chances to make the brand deals she made. The reason isn't because of hard work and graft and grind. And this
but she misfired.
No.
She misfired.
This ridiculous fucking hashtag girl boss culture. And this idea that, I work really hard and I make the most of my 24 hours of the day. Nah, she can fuck right off. She doesn't know how fucking lucky she is.
She definitely misfired.
Do you know
what she got was over the top, man. It was over the top.
I'll tell you what.
At one point, just shouting at 23-year-olds.
I'll tell you this about Molly May. I'll tell you this.
Really?
Right. It was Molly May was a blessing in disguise for Elle Darby. Do you know who Elle Darby is?
Elle
E-double-L-E.
Elle Darby.
Yeah.
No.
The reason that you don't know who Elle Darby is because she's an influencer. She's not Molly May level, but she was signed to the top influencer agencies. Her and her other half, loads of incredibly racist tweets came out about her, and her label dropped her, and she did an apology video on YouTube, and it's the most scripted, definitely not an apology video. Do you know what she looked like? Do you remember when they caught the Peru 2? And they led him out, and the police were and it was two girls without makeup on and sort of ratty hair going, "We are very sorry that we were caught." It was honestly like that. She'd had it in front of the in her house. She wasn't wearing much makeup. Her hair was kind of normal. It's at odds of her glamorous image, and she was just wearing sweats. And she was like, "I've just let myself down." But the tweets, mate. Holy shit. They're from about 10 years ago, right? And usually I'd be like, with that cricketer who made the mistake or whatever, and it was one tweet. It was
Kevin Hart, it was done very hard.
Mate, really? Some of these, just a sec, let me get them up. Some of these are fucking so bad.
Ellie what? Darby.
Elle Darby. Right, okay, you ready for this? I'm going to read a few out.
Can't wait.
I'm going to read a few out.
Do.
So, trigger warning or whatever, right, okay. I just hate Polish people and Indians, really.
Oh, dear.
That's a tweet?
That's a tweet. There's nowhere to hide with that, is there? There's no fucking wiggle room. It's funny because the man that bought the plastic ape really does look like an ape. Lol. This one's the worst one. Why do foreign people follow me? I don't speak your grunts, meatheads.
Nice.
4. Give dirty looks to fat people. It makes them realise people hate them so they lose weight, saving them from heart attacks. My obese bus driver with 3 piercings in his face is wearing Ugg boots this morning, lol. Who do you think you are?
I'm sorry, that's funny. I'm sorry that's where she took my major offense at the Ugg boots. She was like, sorry, they are exclusive for fit people, actually.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing sexier than a woman in Ugg boots.
Yeah. I wonder what that race of the bus driver, if it was white, she was like, this is...
A lot of the stuff is
that is mad.
Well, her fella as well, and they've built their whole brand is we're really wholesome, #be kind. They're those people, right? Mate, the fucking dude, there's about 20 tweets where he's just using the N-word just flagrantly. Do you know what I mean?
Are they American or British?
No, British. But the reason that you haven't heard about them is because on the same day, I think it was, the Molly May video surfaced, And everyone was like, well, I've heard of Molly May. So Molly May is getting shit for going, we've all got 24 hours in a day. And everyone's going, how dare you? And this influencer
it was too much, man.
Getting away with absolute fucking murder. It's crazy. It's crazy how it works, the media. Yeah. Really crazy. And if you want to learn about it, then we had a guy on, Michael Marshall, who's an expert in media and stuff. And he gave... he actually organised a protest where everyone took homeopathic medicine, overdosed on it, and he got it in every newspaper. And he understands how media works and stuff, and he's done loads of interesting stuff. It's another episode, right? Anyway, those were questions sent in by our Patreons. Patreons get loads of extra benefits. They get an extra episode once a week. They get to ask questions. They get early access to the episodes. They come out on Monday as opposed to a Wednesday. They get access to Discord servers. They get special offers. We gave everybody a free NFT recently. And also, we have got a very special offer for everybody who is a Patreon on February the 1st. You will get a chance to win a free bottle of Hooli, which is a Manx rum from our sponsors, Outliers. We have 4 bottles to give away. We did have 5, but I drunk one live on the podcast. Nice. We got really pissed. It was really funny. Four bottles to give away, and we will give them away at random to everybody who is a Patreon on February the 1st.
And if you go on the streets and protest, you get a blowjob from Freddie Quinn. Do not forget us.
Go slows.
Patreons and not Patreons, you get a blowjob from Freddie Quinn. Please, a gay bear, go to the street and protest. Please,
12-hour,
he will suck your dick.
It has to be a 12-hour
12 hours,
thing.
fine. I will bring you pizzas the entire time. You tweet me at Greek Comedian. So I will bring you pizzas. I'll bring you anything. Just forget the blowjob.
I was going to say
Regen, looking after them.
Yeah.
I was going to say very quickly. What do you want to plug, George Zach?
Nothing. You can follow me if you want on my social. It's at Greek Comedian. That's it. I have nothing to plug.
And Liam, anything that you want to plug? Like if you were like the member of an organisation or something like that had a particular,
No, I've got nothing to plug. InsulateBritain.com.
When's the next traffic thing that you're going to do?
Can't tell you.
Yeah, I can't say.
Oh, is it top secret?
No, it's just I don't know, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not.
Where do you live, George?
I live in Newcastle.
What road?
I live on Prince Consort Road. You can find me, guys.
Okay. Just saying, Insulate Britain, Newcastle.
I would love that. I would love that.
Off, you'd love that.
If you came to Newcastle and you were like, we're here because George invited us, I would love that.
Wait, you know we were Halloween costumes.
You were Halloween costumes?
Yeah, all over the loads of people used Insulate Britain and the banners and the orange high beers.
So it's you and Squid Games.
Yeah.
Just dominated 2021.
Yeah. But that's how we knew, we cut through to the consciousness.
Oh, defo. Once you're a Halloween costume, you fucking made it. If anyone ever wants to be a Halloween costume of me, I'll be fucking made it.
You should.
But people will be like, they won't, because I'm not famous. So people will be like, oh, you come as a rapist. You come as a pedo. Well done.
You should block the road outside Buckingham Palace, the roundabout.
Okay.
That is a good one.
Yeah, we'll keep that in mind.
He's cutted you off there. I love it. He's had you there.
Because they love a roundabout.
Do you know what? This is like, so comedians hate it when people come up to them after a gig and go, well, I've got a joke for you. This is what we're doing. I've got a road for you. I've got a road you'll like. Fucking bullshit. Right, thanks for listening. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This podcast has been sponsored by Outlier Distillery. They are the makers of the fantastic Hooli Manx White Rum, which is available right now on the Outlier Distillery website for just 34 quid. And there's an extra discount code for everyone that listens to this podcast. Just enter Pigoted at checkout and you get yourself 20% off. Now, this was a company that was actually started in lockdown, and they make some fantastic drinks. I am a huge fan of this Hooli Manx White Rum. As you can see, I've drunk nearly most of it already. It's a really strong flavour, and it goes great in cocktails and daiquiris and rum and cokes. So if you are a big drinker, if you're a fan of alcohol and you like white rum, then get yourself down to Outlier Distillery's website and get your code 20% off by entering Pigoted at checkout. This episode of Pigoted Podcast was sponsored by Taylor's Toys. Now, for OG listeners of the show, you'll know Taylor's Toys. They've been sponsoring us since the beginning. They are a sex toy company that specialise in making high quality produce produce, like you grow it. You know, they make good products that don't fall apart after a couple of uses, but they're at decent, reasonable prices as well. You can head over to taylorstoys.co.uk right now, check out the amazing range that they've got on offer, and if you enter the discount code PIGOTED at checkout, you get 20% off and you get free delivery on orders over £25. It is a fantastic thing to do, especially with Valentine's Day just round the corner. Head yourself over to taylorstoys.co.uk and spice some things up in the bedroom.